So here we are then, guys. I'm giving it another go. I just dug some bait, dug some lugworm. I'm in a bit of a hurry actually because we're running out of time. Peak time for me is like from now for the next couple of hours. So I've got to get in position quickly. We've got a bit of rain coming. So a bit less wind down here, so I better talk a bit easier. But so it's ebbing. This is the beach, look. So you can see this is high tide mark. You can see how deep it gets. So I'm not being funny, that's actually lure fishable. Look at that. And I have brought one lure, brought one savage gear seat. Got the Any Fish Anywhere estuary rod. So a little bit on the heavy side, but that will, just in case it was clear when I got down here, it's an option. But I'd still fancy my chances more with some lugworm bait. Got these pennel rigs, I'll show you. They're already got their leader on and everything, the clips. I just literally tie it on, clip on a lead, bait up and go. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to tip this pennel rig and put a lot of lugworm on it. These are about 2/0 hooks, 3/0 hooks, something like that. And I'm just going to nick a Berkeley Gulp peeler crab on it. It's a lot of crab activity, so they'll be plucking away, but I've got that on there. So if a bass does turn up, I've got a crab which is like already on the bait, so it's a likelihood that he may pick it up. So all we'll do, we're probably gonna cast about 20 yards, something like that, 30 yards. That's where they generally come on the lures anyway. Don't need to cast just with these breakers, even just short in here. This is all good along here, and really with the time I've got I should just fish here, but there is some slightly better patches along here, and you need to position yourself next to the ambush points. Okay, so it's ebbing, so the tide is running this way. So if there's a reef system here, okay, then the tide's going this way. So if you cast just ahead of the reef, then your scent trail is just going to drift over the ambush points, and they'll come off where they are to find it. That's the theory anyway. That's the theory. You could lob it out anywhere along a beach, and if it's on one of those tides, you could just pick them up straight away. It could be quite as simple as that, but you've got to, I try and put some sort of form of strategy to it, and the strategy goes like this. You've got to have fresh bait, you've got to have the right bait. Lugworm's perfect, ragworm, something like that, and you've just got to pick your tides. Now these tides aren't the biggest tides, and they wouldn't necessarily be the tides I would fish. However, I've got time available, so I'm just going to fish them anyway. However, I've actually caught some of my better fish on just random neap tides, so you cannot rule out, and you never get many bass, not like you would do on a big tide where you can probably get 5 or 6 in a session, but you might just get one solitary good fish. And at the end of the day, you only got a limited window to catch the big ones anyway. They sort of last for around this part of the coast, east coast, you're looking at the last week of April, all of May, 2 weeks into June. That's when you've got a good chance of running into a double figure bass. In July and August, you'll pick off the smaller fish. The last week of August, the bigger fish will start showing again, and all of September and the first week of October is pretty good for a big one as well. So in the summer months, just be the small stuff. But this right now, this is where you could so you've just got to try. You've got to you have to try. You have limited time with work and commitments, and it's like if you're going to run into a good fish, you've just got to go when you can, but when you do go, do the basics well. That's as simple as that, really. And then enjoy it. You've got to enjoy it. You know. And don't get too downbeat if you don't catch one. If you put a lot of effort in and you don't get bugger all rewards, you mustn't just give up. I always say to myself, I always learn something from whatever happens. Whenever I go fishing, whatever gear I bring, whatever I'm doing, you always learn something from it. Even if, like, you know, from failure, you learn something from it, and you think, oh, that happened like that, or you might see something, you know. So it's all good. It's just nice being down. Just nice being down on the beach. You never know what you're going to find. And there's a few snags along here. There's a shipwreck a couple of years ago. There's a yacht ran aground off here and got busted up, and I ended up scattered about down the beach here. People were coming on the beach with a 4x4, nicking all the ballast, all the lead ballast from inside it, and the engines and all sorts, scavenging it. And so yeah, so we'll give it a go with lugworm. That is an absolute killer bait for bass, absolute killer. Trouble is, this time of year you do get a lot of crabs which are going to want to peck it and stuff like that. So you just have to be mindful that you may have to, if you see your rod tip doing this a lot, you might have to check it inside 3 minutes. If it comes back and it's not too bad, that means you can keep out there a bit longer, maybe 6 minutes. Don't be frightened just to quickly wind it in, whack on some more lugworm. You've got to have bait out there, simple as that. Okay, we're putting the Berkeley peeler crab on there, but on its own, I don't really, unless the water's clear, I don't really think that gives enough for a bass to find it. May do, but you need to have a bit of scent there with it. Okay, well, I'll save some battery. So I should be bait fishing, but I brought one lure just in case it is fishable, and it's fishable with a lure. So we just give us 12 foot, any fish anywhere. It's a 5,000 reel. It's a bit clumsy, as you can see, and that's just mono. That's like an 18-pound sort of carp mono or whatever. And blasphemy there. And so it's just trying to judge the oscillation. But if you look at the rod tip, you can see how that's buffering away there. I mean, it doesn't usually do that with the braid, so I'm trying to figure out why it's doing that. It's a good sign though, because it means the lure is working. So there's no need to cast too far. We're just a good swell on there. So it's just a sort of steady retrieve, wobbling sort of action with this Savage Gear Seeker. If there's any fish there. So as we approach the spot I want to fish, I'm just giving it a few goes with this. There it is, I can see the lure, it's working lovely. So if there's any bass there, they should take this. And we've got some decent hooks on. We've got the VMC light hooks on, 75 light series. They are a brilliant hook. They seem to sort of, well, I've never lost a fish on them, put it like that. Very difficult for a bass to shake those particular hooks. So we've checked the drag out. The drag's a little, there's not a lot of tolerance in this drag. It's like really light and then it goes really heavy. So you just got to gauge, make sure we got that right. I think we got it right. So that bit in there is actually would be okay, but I'm just not used to this gear. Not used to this gear, as you wouldn't be, because it's not really a bass spinning outfit. But like I say, we've got the lugworm in there. Now I can't just fish in front of me here because that's all rough ground, so I don't want to lose my gear. I could probably fish just 10 or 15 yards out and get away with it, but I'd be guessing. I really want to be the other side of it. So here's the lure. Definitely fishable with the lure. So we're running out of the tide, so I've decided to go rig up for the baits. So we're just gonna that's the rod, look, lovely rod. So we're gonna take that off. So these are the rigs I've already got. So these hooks are okay, but they're a bit chunky. They're more better for crab really, but there's a Nordic fine wire on there and there's a 1/0 above it, so we're going to try that. Alright, we're going to load that up with lugworm, which are in there. I'm going to attach it to one of these. I'll do that now, and then we're going to chuck it out. Right, so what we got, those, and we've got a pennel rig, 2/0, you've got one of the crabs at the bottom, look. You've got 3 lugworm on there, and a top 1/0 hook. Alright, so let's just see if we can, it looks like if a bass was coming along, it looks like the crab's trying to eat the lugworm, you see. So we'll just cast that out. Right, so just seeing what's going to happen. Got one out there, don't know, it's the first cast, so I don't know if I can get it back yet. It's at close range. About 20 yards. Right, just checking it, see what if it's crabs are sort of a mullered it or whatever, see if we can get it back first. That's coming. I think it would, but it did. Nothing there. I think it's just crabs banging it, so we'll put some more lug on it. Let's see what she's doing. Oh dear. So that's why I've got that other crab on there if there is a bass. So what we'll do, we'll drop it even shorter. We'll drop it even shorter. Alright, so that's why that other crab's doing that. Yeah, ravenous, which is going to be a problem. So I've got that lure to go on at the end to run out of bait. To do. Trouble is with the crabs, it doesn't matter if you cast short or long, they'll be there. They're little blighters. So just slide this bait up a little bit as well, just quite a big bait. Like so. Just grab that hook and just slide up a bit, that's it. Like that. Right. So we've got a crab problem. So never panic, if your bait's all gone, it's still lure fishable, so I can always go back to chucking a lure. So what we're going to do, I'm going to drop it even shorter. I'm going to drop it somewhere like that. I'm just going to give that a go. It's not that a million miles away from where the other one was, but that's if there's bass there, the crabs might sort of, well, I think they'll know about it, they'll just get eaten up, don't they? But we'll just try it closer in there like that. I wonder how long it'll take for the bloody crabs will. It took about a minute to find it last time. So it's always a problem with your bass fishing. That's why it's important, if you get those tugs, you've got to wind it in. You're going to go through your bait a lot, but you just keep rebaiting up. When they start pulling it apart, all that scent is there. So you've got a 2/0 hook with the lugworm, then you've got the 1/0 above with a lightly hooked fake peeler. So there's always going to be a bit of food there. If a bass turns up and there's crabs on it, you've still got a sort of a bait there for him. try that one. Now that's a little bit closer to the reef this time, so crabs are ravenous out there, which is to be expected. I've just dropped it in short, and with the pennel rig you get a second hook. I noticed that was tangled and wound it in, so again that's the importance. Just sometimes it's better just to fish one big hook, I think. The risk of tangling like that. So we'll see how this one looks when it comes in. Whether that was to do with the fake bait on the top hook, I don't know, so we've put it on the bottom hook. So it is going to be a bass which grabs it, if someone's going to grab it. Because the bottom hook is sort of, the flatfish is not going to be able to grab it now. It might do, I don't know, but... let's just see what... no weed out there. Couldn't see any crab bites on the rod tip, but when I wound it in it was a little bit mullered. So I think the prawns are there. I noticed there was, when I was digging some bait, there were some prawns in the little shrimps in the rock pools, so they chew into it as well. Water temperature 11 degrees. Smooth hounder here too. So just waiting for a good old classic bass bite. You never know. So it's getting near low tide and we have a bass. Straight lug. Ow. Stay there, stay there, stay there. Try him. Put him back quickly. Have a bass. So if there's one like that, maybe on the surface, look. Right, let's quickly get that bait out again. They're biting. Right, so that's bang on low tide almost. Crap worms. That's a good one. Just close the lid. Rain, it's not good for them. Dogs. Fresh bait on there, slide it up a bit. Lugworms, find them, they do. Find them, they do. Crabs find them. That's good news. It's good hooks, this blue one. It's a Nordic fine wire. 2.0. Been using them for years, they're brilliant hooks. There we go, just like that. Get out in the same spot. Tighten up. It's gone a fraction bit further. Should be right. I just have to bear in mind there's rough ground just there, and I think I'm just alongside it there. Let the drag set right. If you get a good one, that'll just, you need it to run. I had one bass one year. I was fishing off Orford Island. I walked all the way up to Orford Island. I fished off there. Caught a bass one Saturday morning, and the rod, it just keeled right over and was just kicking. The fish was just moving off. I couldn't get the rod out of the rod rest. It was pulling so hard. We got it that day. 6 3/4 peeler crab. I just had a codling before that. That was the end of May. Just had a codling before that, and we had that one bass, and that was around low water. We went the next day and I had one 7 3/4, same spot. So it's a good place to go to. But that's an hour. It takes an hour and 20 minutes to walk from the from Aldborough car park. Not many people do it. Well, I'm going back. This was 15 years ago. I mean, I doubt I've got the enthusiasm to do that again. But that's where I went to get a better bass. That's where I sort of felt I had to go. So there's some good fish off there. I went up there about 2 years ago, and I was just riddled with dogfish. And I sort of thought then, I thought, ugh. But you've got to go with some real good bait. You've got to go with some decent peelers, some big peelers, and to give you that sort of chance, really. But it's a good sign. We've had a bass, so this is what a better lunge, really. So it's getting near slack water, and so the tide is ebbing, still going that way, and obviously it's getting shallower. It's starting to cloud up a little bit with the breakers. But as the tide eases, you'd think that it could still sort of stay sort of quite clear, but it's pointing towards not being able to lure fish so much now. You'd be surprised with a white lure. It's a bit cloudy in here, just not too bad out there. Definitely clearer further out. We've had one little bass. I mean, these are tides I wouldn't usually entertain, but you just never know. If one little one was there, then there's obviously the others might be there, but just keep trying. If I was lure fishing, once it gets to slack water, I would that'd be my time to head back to the car. But I've had bass on the turn of the tide. Once the tide turns for about half an hour, that's quite good as well. So, and I think I've even had them on slack water. But as a rule of thumb, they generally, on the lures, it's the last 2 hours around here anyway. So if you think they're giving it a go, that's when the best time to go. And the same with the top of the tides, those 2 hours before high water seem to be most productive, for me anyway. But just waiting for some action there. On swimming in as they do. It's a bass. Not impressed. Not a monster. Not bad either. Beautiful fish. Beautiful. Look at that. Top hook. There's the other hook. It's just here, look. Just there. Pennel does it again, look. He won't get in away. Let's go. That's got you, my boy. He's flared his. There's a white. Good fish. At the low tide. Fish. Nice fish. Ow. Right. Just a Bessie. Nice fish. Gone. Right, let's rig up again. So we're winded. Very fast retrieve on this is what you want, really. A slop. Nothing touched it. So what we do is just probably keep it on at this stage and just whack on a few more. So it's been out there a while, but you can see there's plenty of guts and stuff in there, so that's still all right. That's when it's looking completely flush is when you want to. But because we're getting near the end of the session and the bait is getting low, we'll leave it on there. Slide it up. Big long bait. Just, you never know, there might be another one out there. Some of these worms are quite small now. If you put whack enough of them on. There's a little tiddly one. A scent. This one's got a bit more. Might be one more cast with that bait. Slide it all down. There we have it. Now, how could Mr. Bass refuse that? So even 10 yards would be good here, but I generally sort of like this, I cast to 30 yards. Cast at an angle because I can get closer to that rough ground. That's out there a bit. That's where they've sort of been coming from. Don't really make a lot of difference with that sort of bait. It's so scenty. It's just whether they're there or not. It's now slack water, so I do have some more bait in the car, so I could fish the incoming tide. But I want to save that for another venue. Probably doing similar tactics. Whatever that was, it's off. I felt like I caught a good fish. Get some more out there. Caught a good fish, that did. Right, I think we're going to call it. I don't like to walk away, but sometimes you just, when you've got no more bait and you hadn't really digging in there, just have to. Tide's coming in now. So addictive. Not a lot of bait on there. It's nice doing it with a light outfit. Oh! So that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. More videos along the way.